Can you give me a prediction for when I'm talking to you this time, 2027? Where will Harry and Meghan be?
Stripped of their titles.
Hi all, Kinsey Schofield here. Welcome to Kinsey Schofield Unfiltered. And I can't even predict what direction this chat is going to go into today because Jeremy Kyle and I are already in trouble. We are already on fire. Jeremy Kyle of the Jeremy Kyle Breakfast Show. What a pleasure it is to spend so much time with you on your breakfast show, JK.
It's always the best to have you, and it is always best. I always have this innate fear when I'm going to be interviewed, but not by you. We are in trouble already. In fact, you should be playing the bits before we started recording. I don't want to talk about it because it would be unprofessional of me, but I can only wish you luck. In your search for the utopia that you so obviously deserve.
Oh, JK. All right. What a wild week it's been for royal coverage. And you and I have spent the last 3 to 4 weeks covering Harry's big comeback. This was supposed to be a redemption tour. He'd had pictures, he had planned to deliver pictures of him with children, underprivileged, sick, balloon animals. He was going to try to go the Princess Diana route. Look at how compassionate and empathetic he is. And he was supposed to remind the UK why he was such a valuable asset to this country. You know, we had been...
To the country or the monarchy?
To the monarchy.
I thought he didn't like the monarchy. I thought he thought it was racist.
Very good point. But it is my understanding that the polling really devastates him, that he is polling closer to Andrew Mountbatten Windsor. And he has been for quite some time. But also we've been littered with these teases of Project Thaw, the idea that Harry could be coming back to be a working member. Thank you for shaking your head no.
That's just conspiratorial crap. Here's the truth, and we've talked about it forever. And I know I keep saying it, right? If I was totally honest with you, and I was living in Windsor on the long walk, everybody knows the old man worked for the royal family for 41 years. When they got married, it was a wonderful spectacle. The old man said to me before he died, there'll be trouble there. And I went, why? He said, just mark my words. He'll be back in England with his ginger tail between his legs within 10 years with 2 children in California he can't see. I thought it was a fairy tale. Very quickly, the cracks appeared. The truth of the matter is, when they said we're out, it's like, yeah, good. Support you. Don't want to be in the goldfish bowl? Go.
You did say that.
But you can't land in LA. Sign up to anybody who wants to wear your dirty linen. And that dirty linen is the very thing the royal family that you purport to hate. So they're racist, they're this, they're that, it's unfair, it's sexist, my children, blah, blah, blah. You launch your brands, every one of which falls, from jam to Oprah to book to podcast to, unlike this, of course, which was hugely successful. That was a public service announcement. Nothing works. And then you start hearing, and it's sort of culminating this week, you know what, I'm going to come back. We have this ridiculous farce where he's going to come over for the Invictus Games. Can he bring her and the children? Is it safe? So we go back to the whole debacle about security. You're not in, you're not getting it. Pay for it yourself. You didn't want to be in. Then apparently he's going to stay at Buckingham Palace. And then he's not going to stay. I was on air. And at 8 o'clock, he's going to stay. And at 8:20, he's not going to stay. Yeah. I don't understand how he and his odious wife would even want to go anywhere near Buckingham Palace, which is the very symbol of apparently the racist monarchy that they both hate. The truth is, they need photos in Buckingham Palace or with royal members of the family or, as you said, feeding kids or whatever, because that's all they've got left to tout. Because the United States has had enough. The United Kingdom has had enough. Australia's had enough. Everybody's had enough.
Because there's no there there.
No, there's nothing there.
There's
nothing.
They're not creative. They're not hardworking. They don't contribute in a way that, you know, that makes us reconsider our opinion about them. I think that one of the things that I love about the Prince and Princess of Wales, especially over the last few weeks, they stay above the fray, and their message is their contribution. The Princess of Wales comes out of nowhere and is like, I just completed the 3 Peaks challenge while you guys were sleeping. You know, I
can't even walk up the escalator to Waitrose. So respect to her. I'm being serious. And you know, you were talking about Project Thaw. That's rubbish. Yeah. That is put by certain commentators who want us to believe.
But don't you think it's the Sussexes?
Probably the Sussexes through a third party who gives somebody $200. The whole thing is so duplicitous of them. I know that with William, you were just talking about him. I know that he is nowhere near a reconciliation ever with his brother. I know that Camilla also is very, very strong on that. And I hope and pray that they'll start to have some sort of more influence on Charles. Can I just say with Charles, I get it. Got 6 kids. I think that if you fell out and you were ill and you were in your 70s, you'd probably want to make good. But even he must now realise that he cannot say or do anything to his son without it ending up in a newspaper, on a podcast, in some commentary. Their whole ethos is about them, about money, about relatability. I wouldn't trust those two genuinely further than I could throw them. We shouldn't use kids on. Oh, you are using your kids on social media now because you've got something to hawk about. The whole of the royal family is racist. Oh, you want to come and stay in Buckingham? Awful. Sorry, can't have it at all.
I totally agree with you. When we were building up the idea of Harry's comeback, did you ever imagine it could go so south? Because I'll be honest with you, I would have brought a couple more outfits if I realized that. You don't need to, because you look great whatever you wear. Sorry. What would I have thought? Because probably we didn't know until Thursday that we were going to get this verdict, and I think the verdict, he's actually gone underground. I could have told you he'd have lost the court case about the hacking. Yeah, I could have told. There was no substantial evidence at all, according to the judge. And I know plenty of male journalists whose lives were. Listen, the Levinson inquiry called out many people who made mistakes, as they do in many professions. But there were a lot of really good journalists to do with the Mail who were hauled over the coals for nothing. And at the end of the day, that 433-page report by the judge was pretty comprehensive in its condemnation. And of course, you say, was I surprised? And this is going to sound really flippant. Almost everything he does, in my humble, is a disaster. It's so true. Almost everything that he tries to do is a disaster. Almost every time I've said it to you before on the air, I don't know who advises him, but it's almost, I would put on a par his advisors with the advisors for Keir Starmer. Literally crap. Yeah. You're going to make amends with your dad who's got cancer, you're going to bring your kids, you're trying to... No, I'm not coming. Everybody knows that you're a liar. Everybody knows that she pulls your strings, literally. And I just think public opinion can never, ever be reversed on either of them. Him included now. Done. Yeah. I mean, the idea that there's talk, and you mentioned this earlier, that the way that they try to save this trip is the sympathy card, by visiting Althorpe with the kids, by visiting Diana's grave. Does that feel grotesque to you? I think it's a bit. Look, I always have to add a caveat here. I don't wish upon anybody at his age that lost their mother. Okay. Mm-hmm. We all agree on that, but William lost his mother too. Amen. Yeah. And many, many people in this world have lost parents. Okay. I don't believe that. I believe that everything they do, there's always an ulterior motive. Mm-hmm. There's always got to be something in it for them. There's always got to be a means to why they're doing it, which is appalling. You have to be able to trust people and go, oh my God, so you're doing this because... Just don't buy it with them. So much of it is manipulation. So much of it is coercion. And I never thought I'd say it, but I would never trust her anyway. Odious. But him, I think it's gone beyond. And look at the way of the world. Look at what's going on in this country, and look what's going on for almost everybody across the globe. And they make a life, and they make a living out of toxic BS, misery, lies, everything. Yeah. Honestly, when I was on air, they're coming to Buckingham Palace. Oh, great. They're not coming. What? Why? It's not big enough, is it? Yeah. It's ridiculous, man. It's my understanding that they found somebody... They leaked that he was going to be staying at Buckingham Palace, and then Buckingham Palace, in a very rare move, because we know the very classic motto, never complain, never explain. Yeah. Not only do they explain, but they explained in great detail the timeline of what took place. Harry, for the last few weeks, has had the offer to stay at a royal residence in the lead up to this trip. Their anticipation and strategy behind the scenes for Buckingham Palace was to put a staff together for a family of 4 plus an entourage. They'd also have to go and organize hospitality, make sure food and beverage was there for them, additional security. And so they were given a they were given they wanted it to know by Friday.
Yep.
Can you let us know, courtesy, by Friday?
Because they need a few days to get it sorted. Got to get a Waitrose or
right.
Harrods
Exactly, Tesco.
Yeah.
And
every little helps.
On Saturday, Matt Wilkinson reports in The Sun that Harry's not going to receive the security that he wants, which is that automatic arm protection when he lands that shadows him throughout his trip. Harry pitches a fit, releases a nasty statement, contacts the palace, rejects the invitation to stay at Buckingham Palace. A few hours later, and I theorize that his security team had to come to Jesus with him and said, Yo, like the safest building in the world is Buckingham Palace. You should probably just stay there. Harry comes back a few hours later after rejecting the offer, after that nasty statement he released, and says, I've decided I want to stay there. And the palace says, too little too late. Like, no, you can't, specifically the king said, I'm not going to jerk around my staff this way.
I love that word, jerk.
I'm not going to
jerk around my staff.
So then,
can you imagine the king? I'm not going to jerk around the staff.
That's exactly what it sounds like. And then on Monday, somebody from Harry's team leaked to
this, peeps.
Sussex WhatsApp group that Harry was on his way to Buckingham Palace. And then Buckingham Palace comes back and they give us that timeline, that play-by-play of what actually took place. And you understand somebody is lying to us.
There is no doubt that if you put Harry and or Meghan in a room with anybody, the contents of that discussion will end up in the media. Mm-hmm. There are parts of the BBC that patently would con themselves into believing that Operation Thaw. I've read articles that William doesn't do enough work. For Christ's sake, his wife had cancer. He's got 3 kids. He's going to be a brilliant king. And I and Kate, everybody knows what I think. I just think it's so petty that this is the truth, that they will never be able to come to terms with the fact that whatever they do, whatever they say, whatever they promise, whatever they let us down on, they will never be held in the same esteem, not within an inch of the same esteem as Kate and William. And I think she honestly felt that when she clicked her fingers and he went, I love you, that they were going to be, and they had a chance at the beginning, but she is, anybody and everybody will tell you, the most demanding, narcissistic, pain in the arse that there probably has ever been in royal circles. Or maybe not the most, but we just hear, you don't trust that they're not going to let it out, kids? Yeah, that's the problem.
I do. They're very undisciplined. I think that they lack a strong work ethic.
I just think that she calls the tunes and he goes, oh yeah, okay then. Not in that voice, obviously.
It might be. It might be in that voice. You mentioned the Prince and Princess of Wales.
Yeah.
The idea that Harry needs armed guards that the Princess Royal doesn't have, is really appalling to me, that Harry thinks he should have this special level of security.
It goes beyond that to me, right?
Right.
If you're not in it because you don't agree with it, why the hell do you expect the benefits that come with that when you're patently nothing to do with it? You can't. That's like, I tell you what I'm going to do. Do you know what? My brain's too tired. It's just ludicrous.
It is, and the Princess Royal there was an attempted kidnapping with guns, and she still is not on that list for armed security. So the fact that he thinks that he's more special than her, and we have an example of her in jeopardy, is what's most ludicrous to me. But how much do you think because it's my understanding that he was very frustrated the last time he was here, that he was showing up late because he didn't have all the bells and whistles of the presidential type of motorcade. How much of this is ego in that frustration?
Loads.
Of why does William get it? Why does William
because he's the next king. Your wife is odious, and you said you weren't interested in the royal family, and you buggered off to America. So swallow it. Honestly, I don't understand. I don't. And I honestly, and I tell you what I also think, and I've said this a lot, and a lot of people recoil when I say this. I think he's so devious and led by her, that the whole let's get back in with the king thing is based on 2 facts. One, the king is ill.
Yes.
And they see an opportunity to perhaps manufacture or wheedle their way, that's an English word, back in. Maybe talking about inheritance money, the future, because I can categorically tell you that when the king dies and William takes over, he's obviously he's got a memory like an elephant. He has never forgotten what Harry did to the royal family. It's all about institution. He used to go